Welcome to Bears in Exile. Today is, well, now it's Saturday, January the 5th, and this is a quick and special look at the major indexes, the Dow, the NASDAQ, S&P 500, TNA, and the VIX. So just want to make it short and sweet. We haven't touched on this in quite a while, and away we go. So here we are starting off with the Dow just like in the old days. And what do we have? We have lots of people saying that we're at a top, we need a short, etc., etc. And I think it's just curious to see if that indeed should be the case. At first look, you would look at this and say, oh, wow, they've had quite a run all the way down from, almost, actually that is 12.5. All the way from 12.5 to almost 13.5. 1,000 points. And, it should be tired, should be going down. Is that true? Well, we made a new recent high on Friday, which is bullish. Last time we were looking at this, it was on some other charts, I think TNA, and we were saying that a little bit of a pullback would be fine. And that the major area is this previous high right here. And that's still true today. Having to pull back to that point would be completely natural, and as long as it's not breached significantly, a tail going into it a little bit below is fine. But as long as it's not breached definitively, the bulls are fine. The bulls are fine. There's room between here and the upper Bollinger Band. We are not at, oh, look at that. We're right at the halfway point of this big red candle. So minor resistance at the moment. And if it breaks that, we should be going to the previous recent high beyond that, which is just shy or around about 13.6. And I really like that level, simply because it's a nice round level and it comes into lots of resistance. I don't know if it gets up there, if it'll break the top or whatever. We'll have to see at the time, but for the moment, that looks nice. And I don't really believe that it'll be a straight shot. Anyways, we have a really nice topping area in the heat map. We do have the 14-day RSI moving average trying to go lower, but it is still high. We have the CCI trying to roll over. It's still high. We have the stochastic still going up, the RSI still going up, the MACD histogram going up, and the MACD itself still going up. So the question becomes, do we have a rollover here, or do we get stuck? If we get stuck, then yes, you could have a straight shot all the way to that area, but those are a little more rare. So we're going to assume that we have the secondary indicators turned down. And what will that mean? Well, it'll mean that that level is important, and just because they roll over doesn't mean that we're going to have an epic drop down. If price is able to go sideways or just slightly down into that support, and these go all the way to the bottom and it's essentially able to go sideways, massively bullish. Massively bullish. So the interaction between this level, most important thing. Most important thing. So after this kind of a move, you would say, oh, it looks kind of extended. We have the potential for a rollover to some extent, of which we don't know at the moment. What about the 60-minute? All right, let's look at the 60-minute. Well, you can see the clear breakout from the previous high, and we're still going up. What about everything else? I mean, we have divergence in the MACD histogram. All that takes us is to the previous high. And we have everything in good alignment for a move down. So, if this is any indication, that is where it should go. I think that aligns pretty darn well. And bearish side. Bearish side would say, okay, we have good alignment for a potential move down, and we have negative divergence on the MACD histogram, and that would be a a little more painful. And yeah, that would be a little bit of a breach from the previous high, but like I was saying, with about maybe like a tail or something, it wouldn't be much deeper than that. It'd be a really good way to sucker some people in while this does a secondary reset, if it's going to do it. Just some food for thought. Just some food for thought. And if it, of course, if it breaks that, then that's a huge tell. Anyways, don't want to spend too much time. I'm going to keep moving on. The Dow Jones Transports. Very, very important. And once again, new recent high today, and it's outside the upper Bollinger Band once again. So a move sideways or slightly down would be entirely possible, maybe even probable. Secondaries are the same essentially as the Dow, except they're a little bit higher. Going down to the previous support, completely natural, maybe even probable. But we can also see that we are pushing back the upper Bollinger Band. And on a couple videos ago, I was saying I wasn't too keen on the idea of shorting. I think it was right here, because we didn't know if the Bollinger Band would be pushed back or not. And it is. So still have to go with the bulls at this time, but they may have a little bit of weakness over a few days, and we'll see what happens with that. Going on to SPX. Oh, but nonetheless, Dow Jones Transport's going up like that. Very good sign for the overall market. Here we are with SPX, another new recent high, and it has a closing high above the closing highs of this area here from before. This should be an area of resistance, but this is a magnificently good sign, and it is pushing back the upper Bollinger Band. We do not have complete flip in the secondaries as of yet, and it looks pretty darn good. Looks pretty darn good. Even if we have to get that move down, it will only take us to about 14. I'm just going to say 1445. It's actually like 1447, but until that point, I'm not really concerned about this. Nope. I know that's a little bit crazy, but we have to see more development before we can say anything else, because this can get stuck. Going on to COMPQ, the NASDAQ, not as impressive. Not as impressive. But that's okay. I mean, where it looks like it topped out is still right here at a previous high. So backing away slightly from it, it's not a big deal. We do have a really good topping area, but it is starting to fade through time just a little bit. We don't have clear indication of a real rollover at this time. And it does have much more to move to the upside and to prove than the Dow or SPX or the transports. So something to keep in mind, but if this shows some real strength after consolidating here, it's going to boost the markets huge, which is another reason why I am not as bearish as many other people out there at the moment. If this tries to catch up, the market's going to go crazy. So, and everybody's shorting right now. So, Going on to the VIX. Alright. VIX, epic collapse. I think it's one of the largest declines in history on a day-to-day basis over the course of the week. Amazing. It's massively low. If it maintains this low area, the market will go up. Even if this just goes sideways, the market will go up. So, very, very weak. As of Friday, we are right into the support. There's only two supports on the VIX chart at the moment. This support that we're at now, and the floor, which is barely below that. You take both of those out, which admittedly would seem to be very difficult, simply because the VIX should not get so low. But if it does, the markets are going to go berserk. And the lower Bollinger Band is still moving down. We're not bumping our head on it. Now, and here's the really interesting thing. This is just fascinating to me. You have a secondary reset underway. You have a Really strong bottoming area in the heat map. They can go on for a decent amount of time, as we can see in the past, but really nice bottoming area. It's been a huge drop. We still have room to move on the MACD, still have room to move on the RSI, still have room to move on the 14-day RSI. Ah, there's the key. 14-day RSI moving average. It's at a high. If this sucker turns down, which it should if it stays down here long enough, we could have a secondary reset to get these higher and then join it for further movement to the downside. So that looks horrible, especially at this price. So something to keep in mind. Alternatively, you could say this is just a secondary reset. We're going to go back up to the top. The VIX is going to be stuck up there, and then price is going to increase. That is possible. It is possible. But at this moment, I would think it would be more likely that it will start a move down, and we'll have a secondary reset to join it for the rest of the move down. And TNA, just to finish off the video is running a little bit longer than I intended, but that's okay. TNA small caps should be leading the market. And what's it doing? It has a new recent high once again, and very soundly beating the previous high. And we had talked about this one in the last video of this coming down potentially, and it's the 68 area, just below 68, that we don't want to have definitively broken. As long as that holds up, the bulls are going to win. So, and if you look at this MACD histogram, the negative divergence isn't nearly as much from a size perspective. I mean, from a price perspective, it would take it all the way down to sub 60. But the point is, the MACD is still going up. We could have this break and eliminate the negative divergence. And if that happens, that's a really good sign too. If that happens on this chart, the Dow and SPX should follow, even though they have more room to break their negative divergences on the daily. And things do look pretty high here. We do have a topping area in the heat map. The question is, do we get stuck up here for a while? And nobody knows. We could have a partial secondary reset to the halfway mark, just like back here and here and here, and then have it turn up once again. So the idea of it being stuck, it's entirely possible. So just shy of 68 should be on the radar. And that's going to be it for this evening. As always, all investing decisions are your own. This chart and video for entertainment, educational, and consumption of time purposes only. Thank you very much.